Everyone's hyped up about the Nintendo Switch 2 and how insane the graphics look. But what if I told you I made older Nintendo games look like they launched on the Switch 2? Well, not really. But with all the new graphical improvements and good looking games on the console, it got me thinking about the older Nintendo titles and how they would look with a modern coat and possibly remaster on Nintendo Switch 2. So naturally, to satisfy this portion of my curiosity, I did the closest thing I could do to a Switch 2 remaster for classic titles, and I went and I upscaled these games myself to get the best graphics that I can on a modern day PC. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, and we will be checking out the console that I found the best results with, which is the Nintendo Wii. Now, these games got the most graphical improvement out of everything that I tested. If we take a look at the gameplay, we see Super Mario Galaxy 2, and this is with the normal graphics. It looks just how you remembered. Maybe a little bit more pixelated than your childhood brain recalls, but still decent for a 2010 game on a console that launched almost 20 years ago. Jesus, 20 years. My knees just cracked just thinking about that. So instead of just focusing on how old we're all getting, let's focus on the upscaled version instead. And aside from making my PC sound like a jet engine that was about to explode, this made the game look so goddamn clean I couldn't believe my eyes. Playing through the levels again with this crisp 4K texture with smoothed out models, it was like seeing Mario Galaxy for the first time. Except it didn't look like I had Vaseline on my screen this time, so that in turn made it a lot more fun to play this classic title with a new fresh coat of paint. I mean, just look at how amazing everything looks. Going back to the old version felt like a flashbang for my eyes. But this is not the only title that got a glow up, because let me show you guys the next entry that got a decent, little buff from this, and that is Pokémon Colosseum. Now, initially, you're looking at it, you're like, this still looks pretty good for an older Wii title. But once again, let me just remind you, it's a bit blurry, somewhat pixelated. We can't really see that well. But that's how it is. Everything has an oldish look to it, so we understand. We get it. But take a look what happens when I once again upscale everything, max out the graphics on my emulator as much as I can, and boom. It looks how I remembered it as a kid. My imagination definitely filled in some gaps and made the game look a lot cooler in my head. But now it actually looks crisp and clean. I'm like, you know what? This looks good. This can get remastered and come out like this, and I think I'd be content. Probably not. You're going to need to add more Pokemon. You're going to do more of that if you want me to be more interested. But, smoother models, more crisp, no blurriness. The attacks look nice. The stage background looks excellent. And when compared to how it was before, definitely got a glow up, I have to say. But let me tell you, it was not all positive with all these games that I tested, because let me show you two titles that kind of fell flat when compared to these other two. Because the last two games I tested were Super Smash Bros. And Mario Kart. And man, these did not live up to how I wanted the upscale to work on my emulator. Starting off with Smash, you can see that everything looks fine. It's just how it is. Slightly blurry once again. Different resolution because, at the time it's all the Wii could handle. And now when we do the upgrade, I just don't see the drastic improvement. Compared to the previous two titles, and even then with Pokemon Colosseum was kind of falling off, Super Mario Galaxy was definitely the one where it looks amazing. I cannot stress how good that game looked. But now, it's very minimal. Don't get me wrong, it still looks good. But I just think that this title, I think I expected it to look better, when in reality, maybe the models weren't such a priority here. And that in turn made the upscale not look that good. And the same applies with Mario Kart, because once again, we have it looking all right. It's how you remember it as a kid. But when I apply the enhanced textures, it just looks smoothed out in a bad way. The previous ones were smoothed out in a good way, I guess. But this one just, Mario Kart Wii was not made for this in mind. And it just looks odd. It doesn't look as good as I thought it would, and it doesn't look better than the original, in my opinion. I think the pixelation and blurriness helped this game in specific. Now, I know this might have not been the last two were kind of, but these models were made for multiple, characters on the screen, so there's an explanation for it. There's a reason for it, but it can only go so far, and the same can be said with GameCube titles, because guess what? My next console it's going to be the GameCube games, and they, from what I saw, look pretty good. They can pass off for maybe a Wii U title. So let's go ahead and check that out. So with the first title that I have in mind when I'm going to the GameCube, you're thinking of a game, right? What do you think of when you think of GameCube? Me personally, it's going to be Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. And we're doing the GameCube version because this is the one I remember playing the most. And not totally because I forgot the Wii version existed. Purely just because I remember playing it on the GameCube more. Definitely the only reason. So, starting off, you can see the original title without any enhancement. This is the game we all love. The same frustrating one when you're a kid. You have no idea what the fuck is going on. Well, at least I didn't know. Like, how the hell was I supposed to know all this? I was a kid. I was picking my nose. Fucking, who knows what else I was doing. Maybe eating them. But, let's go ahead and give it a slight upgrade. I say slight because, I mean, you're looking at it right now. It basically looks like the Wii version of the game, so admittedly, these GameCube games didn't get as much of an upgrade as the Wii games, but it's to be expected because this console itself is almost 25 years old. So you work with what you got, 25 years old, you don't got a lot of breathing room there. So, with that being said, I did enjoy what it provided. Much like with the Wii games, it gives you a new perspective when you're playing these classics and how it smooths over the polygons and pixelation and gives you a clear view on what the in-game model actually intended to look like with what the developers had in mind, with what they worked with, And another example would be our next game, because we have Mario Kart Double Dash up next, and you might be thinking, oh, well, come on. We saw how it didn't work on the Wii, but wait. Because it looks rough, yeah. It looks old as hell. And also, don't judge my Mario Kart gameplay. I was getting cooked because I forgot how to play, and my brain was short-circuiting, and I was like, oh, you know what? Fuck it, we ball. And just kept recording. But when we moved to the upscaled gameplay, we noticed that the improvement is here. It's more than what we saw in the Wii version, because I didn't see a big difference between the Wii Mario Kart and the upscaled version. But with this one, this game definitely looks a lot better. You can 100% tell. And the biggest difference here with the upscaled gameplay and the normal gameplay is that I was not playing like complete garbage. But that's aside from the point. This game looks really nice, and if you throw in a couple of mods that I showcased in my top 5 Mario hacks of 2024, shameless plug, you could install Mario Kart Double Dash Plus, which has even more tracks, and to be specific, it has 64 retro courses added, as well as 200cc, and a 4-player Grand Prix. So now that I brought that to your attention, this makes a big revelation for this video, right? Once you start thinking about it, because now this changes the whole game entirely. We can install mods for our games, ranging from, old games on Nintendo 64 all the way up to the Switch. And of course, if you're running it on an emulator, you can turn up the graphics and resolution on all these things, right? And then you got yourself an entirely new and amazing gaming experience. But that extremely cool point aside, being able to upscale your game, make it look nice, play with mods, just have a grand old time, right? You should at least check out the older games if you can upscale it either way. Because, the modded older games are so cool. They are so amazing. I just want to make that quick side note. You should check it out, even if you don't have the beefiest PC. For sure, you'd be able to try like a modded Super Mario 64 game, a modded Super Mario Sunshine game, or, Double Dash modded. And, the modded Wii versions have some really cool Super Mario Galaxy 2 mods. So if you can handle that, if your PC can handle it, then please check that out. But let's get back on topic with the video because we have our final GameCube game, and this is a personal favorite of mine, and it is Super Monkey Ball. Now, this is one that I enjoyed playing a ton of as a kid. You know, not having a lot of great games kind of forces you to enjoy every single one you had. And it was kind of a rite of passage for every kid because it's like you either beat it and force yourself to like it, or you just sit there playing the same games over and over, or just replaying other things. Like, you know, you take the new games and you're like, you know what, fuck it, we ball once again. But with the graphical improvements now, we have a slightly more modern feeling game that still plays like the classic Monkey Ball we all remember on the GameCube, because those newer Monkey Ball games don't compare. They're different. Fight me on that. They're different. I do not like the modern ones, but the classic ones, the older ones, they feel great. And with the upscale, it looks pretty good if I do say so myself. I was quite happy with how it turned out. And seeing the little monkey in the ball is just, come on. How can you hate that? Come on, it's a little monkey in a ball. But that's all the GameCube games I have to show. Now let's move on to our last set of upscaled games. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what is he going to show us? He's going down in order. He's probably going to show us some Nintendo 64 game that has anti-aliasing all the way 16 times with 4K resolution. Hell, maybe 8K. No, I'm not going to do that. I tried that. It wasn't worth it. I was kind of like, you know what? I don't need this. This shouldn't be a part of the video. I mean, you can still try it yourself if you want to, if you're interested. I didn't think it looked that good. But we're more importantly moving on to the one that absolutely demolished my PC. And that was the Switch games. The Switch one. I mean, you can see in the background, I put video footage of me playing Breath of the Wild. And it already looks good as it is, because it's a Switch title. I mean, we're not that far removed from it. And admittedly, it was not doing too hot on my PC without upscaling it, or with the upscale. I mean, both ways, actually. Both ways, it was making my PC cry. Because it was already dropping frames. It was stuttering. It was suffering, right? My PC wanted to be put down like Old Yeller. But, come on. We're here. You're watching the video. We gotta do it for science. So here goes, you know, Breath of the Wild. My graphics increased to 4K. And I literally had to walk through the environment because if I went any faster, my frames would drop so fucking fast. And listen, this is not the best gameplay, but we live with what we got, don't we? And this is what y'all got, unfortunately. You gotta deal with it. And again, the graphical upgrade is so minimal that I don't know personally if it's gonna translate well to YouTube, like as a video. But I mean, hell, it's going to get rendered and it's probably going to look nice, maybe. I don't know. Those eagle-eyed viewers can maybe spot the very minor increases in fidelity or something. And the extra textures that you can finally see. It's very minor and not even worth the performance because, like I said, it absolutely awful. Did not help out my PC at all. It was going crazy. But a better example that I found worked better without the massive frame drops was the next game, which is Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. Now, you might see this game, you're like, oh, whatever, which, by the way, this is a modded version, which is Pokemon Luminescent Platinum. So again, you might see some minor differences that weren't in the original game. That's aside from the point. Shout out Luminescent Platinum. Cool mod. Anyways, yeah, I never beat this game when it came out, Brilliant Diamond, because I mean it disappointed all of us. Let's be real here. I did love it on my original DS, but now you're seeing it on the Switch. It's pretty cool. Blah blah blah. We've all seen it. Now let's apply that new coat of paint because I know you guys want to see, and immediately we can tell the overworld looks a lot better than it did before. It looks crisp. It looks clean. When we move on to a battle sequence with a random Pokemon, we can see that it once again improved, but you can't really do much with the chibi format that they have in this game. But I mean, it's like putting on glasses, you know, at least it looks less blurry. I feel like I've said that a bunch of times, but hey, at least it's not murdering my PC. So when I was doing these tests, I kind of gave up on the Switch ones because it wasn't really worth the minimal improvement. I tried it on other games like Mario Kart. I mean, again, the original looks pretty good and plays smoothly. And when we go to the upscaled version, the changes are very minor. Like, I don't know if you guys could even tell. I couldn't tell. I was looking back and forth. I'm like, it was like playing a game of Where's Waldo or something. I had to really look through and be like, oh, I see it there. I see something. But, at least this one chugged along pretty well. So overall, if I had to recommend doing any of this to any consoles, I definitely suggest you guys go with the Wii games first and foremost. And maybe some GameCube titles if you want to relive, some of the glory days from back then. Plus, they do have a lot of modded content for GameCube games like Mario Sunshine, Mario Party, Smash, Luigi's Mansion. So go ahead and check those out. And again, Wii also has stuff. Project M, Smash, and they have like Super Mario Galaxy stuff. They have more. If you Google is your friend. Hell, maybe even ChatGPT. What do I know? But you can ask, and they'll definitely find you a lot of great fan projects that people have done. You increase the quality and textures, and hey, it's like a whole new game, completely unrecognizable. Nah, that's a bit much. It's still recognizable, but either way, it makes a fun night to play with some friends if you have some modded Mario Kart with the graphics turned up and you can show off your beefy PC. You're like, yeah, it's a 5090, not to brag. I don't have a 5090, but hey, it makes it worth it. The little slight improvements. It was fun to see. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed looking at and experiencing the graphical upgrades, and hopefully it brought you down memory lane and made you guys want to go back and just replay some of the classics either way, even without any graphical improvements. We don't need that. Sometimes people can just have fun playing the classics, nostalgia and stuff like that. I'm having fun playing Super Mario Galaxy 2 again, and playing some custom levels with some cool mods on top of all that, with a slight bump in the graphics. I'm not going 8K, 4K. That's a bit much. That's doing too much. But yeah, it's giving me a fun experience, and it's new, it's fresh. And if you guys like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. It's Suremesh here. Come on, man.